Hi.
We are.
Me too. Greetings from Detroit. So I'm so excited to be here. And I have been following your teachings since the Power of Intention website and studying and sharing with other people, and I have invented or deliberately created the most awesome, amazing life that I never thought was possible. And so I am a CEO of a company that works for educating mothers on welfare, and we have a high infant mortality rate in Michigan, and I have the honor and privilege of impacting those lives, as well as being able to hire people who are getting laid off. And so the thing that I'm dealing with right now is my life is going so fast. I'm leaving here and going to Dubai, and then I'm going to India to become an importer of diapers so that they won't have to pay so much money out of their income that they don't have. And I'm trying to take my staff with me at the speed that I'm going, and they're resisting. It's kind of like, how can we do that? And I don't know how to tell, I don't know, like I'm just gonna do that. I don't know how we're gonna do it. I haven't taken a vacation in years, and this is the first thing. If you didn't even ever call on me, just to be in San Antonio is a breakthrough for me. And I've got this amazing new life, and I'm like, okay, now, I don't want the stream to slow down, though.
Well, you don't need to worry about that because the stream will never slow down. The only thing that you're ever going to notice is your speed in relationship to the stream. In other words, if you slow down, it's a rough ride. If you speed up, then the stream is life-giving.
It's really fast, though.
Well, the stream is not going to slow down.
Okay.
So, again, the only thing that we're talking about is your relationship to the stream.
Okay.
So, what do you want from us?
I guess I really want to know that I'm on the right path. I mean, I'm just a chick from Detroit going to Dubai. I'm going to India. And you had something to do with that. I'm like, well, I mean, I just read this stuff and did it. That's all I did. So I think if you said it, and I never met you, and I'm going, and I did it, then at least you owe me at least to say I'm doing the right thing. Respectfully said.
Well, let's start at a more basic place. If this time-space reality has the wherewithal to inspire within you an idea, this time-space reality has the wherewithal to deliver the goods. In other words, that's just a universal law. If this life can cause you to want it, then this life can deliver it to you. But so many people jump into the action part of things first. And so when you say, are you on track? We want to say to you, yes. And is there something that you should be doing differently? We want to say maybe a little, but not very much. Nothing that a little bit of fine-tuning can't help you with. So the answer to your question, am I on track, is emphatically yes. But now let's do some fine-tuning here.
Okay.
Because when you talk about how busy you are and how fast it's going and how much there is to do and how big your dream is and what a big impact you want to make and how many people you want to help and how important it feels to you, we want to say to you that all of that is true, and you've been putting that into your vibrational reality for a really long time. So you've been putting it there. It's been calling you. And all that happened when you began listening to some of the things that we say is that you began releasing your resistance, one thought, one vibrational habit at a time, so that more and more you came into the vortex where you began to see, where you began to know. Earlier, someone was asking us to define, to give them a sort of visual on how the details of their life was going to unfold. And we explained to them, and you heard us as we were saying to them, it's a feeling thing. It's a feeling thing. So what's going on with you is you have this feeling of confidence. You just know you're going to do it. But when people pin you down to how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, where's it going to come from, who's going to pay for it, where are the details of it going to come, you don't have answers to those things, but you have knowing. In other words, that's that feeling that we were talking about. So now getting back to something that you said earlier, the most important thing that a really busy person must come to understand is that if you will take the time, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you have it, to get yourself into the vortex, it will give you a leverage of time and energy and money that you just can't find outside the vortex. So the thing that you want for sure to do every single day is to meditate your way in, or bask your way in, or appreciate your way in. The best sequence of processes that we know is before you go to sleep at night, to bask your way into slumber. In other words, if you can just bask and appreciate, and go to sleep from that vibrational standpoint. Don't go to sleep out of exhaustion. Go to sleep as you have basked yourself into alignment. And when you think about it, this vortex that we're talking about, where only appreciation and love exist, as you find the vibration of that through your conscious, deliberate focusing as you're lying in your bed, you'll drift into sleep, you'll drift into restful sleep, you'll drift into delicious sleep, life-giving sleep. And when you awaken, you'll be in the vortex because you made sure that you were in there when you went to sleep. When you wake up, you're in the vortex. So your mood is already high. It's elevated. You feel good. And then take some time to do some lists of positive aspects. Have some rampages of appreciation. In other words, just milk this vortex. Everyone can feel. In other words, as they were listening to you, even when you were sort of playfully and comically exhibiting some concern you have about going to India, everyone in this room can feel the confidence with which you plan to do that. In other words, there's no split in your vibration. And that's what you want to milk. That's what you want to maintain. You don't have to know how or where or when or who. You just have to feel this feeling of certainty that was palpable around you and just keep that vibration going. That's all you have to do. And the universe will deliver to you the next step and 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 the next step. You see, no one who's in the vortex has this clear plan where they say, first I'm going to San Antonio, and then I'm going to Dubai, and then I'm going, and then I'm going, and then I'm going, and this will happen here, and this will happen here, and this will happen here. That's not why you want to be in the vortex. Being in the vortex is being in that vibrational attitude of knowing well-being and understanding with knowledge, even bigger than trust, that the next logical step will appear, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And that's what you're trying to teach all of these people. In other words, whether you're going to a sort of unknown land for you, but there are a lot of people who right there living in Detroit are living in an unknown land. In other words, their life, it's their own life right there up close to them is frightening them. They're afraid of the unknown. And what you're showing yourself is how to go anywhere and not be afraid. How to tune into the vibration. That's what you're teaching these people. You're not teaching them. You're not going to get diapers so that people can afford diapers. You're going on this journey to show yourself that all things are possible for you, because unless you know that, you can't teach it to someone else, you see. Right. All things are possible for you. And so, as big of a jump as it sometimes feels like to do the things that you tell us that you're going to do, it's a bigger jump than that for those people just to get from one day to the next, you see. What you're leading them into is not to less expensive diapers. You're leading them in to an understanding of who they are. But you cannot teach them who they are until you know for sure who you are, you see. So that's what this is all about. someone standing as the CEO of a corporation is not heard very well by someone who's just trying to scrape enough together to get something for the kids to eat today. In other words, you're already not hearable to them, you see. But when you have the exposure to life that you're having, and you let them know that it's the same for all of us. Life causes us to reach way out beyond where we are, and then we have to figure out how to get ourselves there emotionally. That's what you want to teach them. You don't want to teach them how to get more money. You don't want to teach them how to get somebody to give them more money. You don't want to try to feather their nest. You want to instill within them the confidence that you're reaching for yourself, you see. You want them to understand that a feeling of fear just means they've reached beyond where they're letting themselves go. And the only way that you can fill that void is to go. And the way you go is by reaching for the thoughts that give you the relief. So now let's walk through your scenario again. And let's find the thoughts that give you relief. So what's the most unsettling thing about what's coming up next for you?
I have a 4-year-old daughter, and to leave her with her dad and my family to go.
All right, so there's a bump there, isn't there? In other words, there's not a clear path there. So you've got to find a way to focus upon that. In the same way that we said to the woman who had pain in her body, you've got pain in your body that just is. And you can feel fear about it at the same time, or you can feel hope about it. Very different vibrations. So you've got a 4-year-old that if you're going to do what you really want to do, you're going to leave your 4-year-old with her father. That just is. You can feel fearful about it and worried about it, or you can feel fine about it. So which way do you want to feel?
I want to feel fine about it.
All right,
going.
All right. So say the words that lean in the I feel fine direction. Say them.
By me going to Dubai and India, I get to be an example to her that anything is possible.
Pretty big jump, but we'll take it. What else? Something more pointed to the concern that you really have about leaving her.
Oh, that her dad is an excellent father. And he is me. He loves her as much as I do, and he'll take great care of her. And
so what's the discord? You're going to miss her? In other words, you don't think she's going to suffer. You don't think she's going to be in peril. So what's the discord? What's the discord that you're wanting to clean up?
Oh, that my picture or my idea of what a good mom looks like is June Cleaver.
Well, our picture of what a good mom looks like is one who's in the vortex, which means a good mom has to go where the larger part of her is already gone. Otherwise, she's a split mom, and that's no good for the kids.
Yeah, I got that.
Which is exactly where you started. In other words, you want to show her that, and that's an interesting thing, because your life has taken you there, your vortex of creation, and now you want to go, but you feel reluctant to go for fear that you won't be able to be the good mom that stays. So do you think that the definition of a good mom is someone who sacrifices her alignment and feels miserable for the sake of her children? The definition of many, many mothers. And you know what they end up relationship-wise? Children who don't even like them, because hanging around with a mother who is holding you as object of attention, you kept me from my dream, doesn't work out very well. We do a lot of therapy with people like that later.
Yeah.
So tell us again, why are you going?
I'm going to follow the larger part of myself and to teach my environment, the people in my life that I lead, that they can follow the larger part of themselves.
And let's really drive it home. I'm going because anything less would keep me from who I have become.